Rhys Jones's family should be celebrating his 12th birthday tomorrow. Instead, they're looking for his killer.
He was just lying there in a pool of blood. I think he's already gone.
Tonight, the first images of Rhys's murderer, just moments before he opened fire. Who is he? Hello and welcome to Crime Watch. I'm here with Jane and Rav and senior detectives from across Britain. This is your chance to make that crucial call which could have them knocking down doors tonight. In our 23-year history, you've helped solve some incredibly high-profile cases. Think of the murder of James Bulger, the kidnapping of Stephanie Slater, and the deaths of Lynn and Megan Russell. Tonight, we're hoping in the next 60 minutes you'll help crack another and give Melanie and Stephen Jones some peace. Over the past few days, rumour and speculation has been rife about who killed their son, Rhys. But we're dealing with facts and evidence. And like in many of tonight's cases, CCTV footage could make all the difference. We're about to show Rhys's killer caught on camera. And we ask you to be brave enough to name him.
An 11-year-old boy was shot dead last night.
Jones from Liverpool was hit in the neck by a single bullet.
Parents of the 11-year-old
He was
boy.
just 11 years old and out with friends on a summer's evening playing football when he was gunned down close to his home.
Pulled the trigger and killed Rhys.
And anger only deepens here.
The motive remains a mystery.
A heinous crime that has shocked the whole of the country.
Rhys was an outdoor type of person. He loved to play football. He loved to be anywhere but in the house.
He wouldn't like me to tell you, but he used to like me to go and tuck him in of a night. Come and tuck me in, he'd say. I go, you're nearly 12. But yeah, he always had his arms around me. Just when he smiled, he just made you feel warm and lovely, and he just made you smile back at him.
And he liked to think that he could make people laugh. I know he used to make me laugh a lot.
Rhys was always bouncing around the house and tormenting the dog, but now it's horrible. It's so quiet. It's never going to be the same again.
The last time I spoke to Rhys was I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and he'd already left for football with his signing on fee, but he hadn't taken his subs for that particular week. And instead of paying it on the Saturday before the game, he decided that he'd run all the way back and badger his mother for the £1.50 or whatever it was for his subs. So he came bursting in through the front door and sat on the arm of the settee, out of breath, waiting for my wife to give him his £1.50 to head off. And I remember him sitting on the end of the couch, and I kept on thinking to myself, he needs a haircut. He needs a haircut. And that was the last time I saw him, because my wife running back up.
Yeah, I got him his subs and I put him in the car because he was going to be late for training, and I took him up to the training field and he gave me a kiss and said, "See you, Mum, I'll be home to watch England."
7:30 p.m, August the 22nd. Rhys had just finished playing football up here and was walking the 10-minute journey home down Langley Close and across this pub car park. On the other side of the pub, another boy riding his bike. But this kid, disguised in a hoodie and cap, is on his way to shoot someone. But who? Police think it could be a rival gang member who strayed onto the wrong patch. This is Rhys's killer, just seconds before firing his gun. He's just a kid himself, no more than 16. Police hope new developments in picture enhancement will reveal his face. Do you know who he is? Rhys crosses the verge here, while the boy on the bike rides to the corner of the pub. Somewhere on this car park is his intended target. He stops, pulls out a revolver and fires 3 times. Rhys takes one final step. One of the bullets hits him directly in the neck and he collapses to the ground.
Reese's coach and manager knocked at my door. I opened the door and he just went, "Reese has been shot." I went, "What?" He went, "You need to come with me now." I just grabbed my keys and my phone and he took me up to the fir tree. And when I got there, he was just lying there in a pool of blood. I think he's already gone. I just had hold of him on that car park and I didn't want to let him go. He was just lying there with his kiss on. I was saying, "Come on, Reese. Stay with me, baby."
While Melanie was cradling her dying son, his killer was riding away. Who knows what was going through his mind at the time? But by mistake, he'd murdered an innocent 11-year-old. He cycles frantically away, down an alleyway and across Fir Tree Drive North, where he nearly gets himself run over. Are you the woman who was driving this red car? And then he disappears into Dam Wood and into a tight circle of family and friends who are protecting him. He may have been panicked and scared. Are you now carrying the burden of knowing who killed Reese?
Well, to the mother of the person who's done this, I would just plead for her to hand her son in. She must know it's him, or she must have some suspicions that it's him. Even for his own safety, she should hand him in. We can't rest or even try to move on without this person being caught or brought to justice. We need it. That's why we need people's help to come forward. It would have been Reese's birthday tomorrow. He would have been 12. He wanted a new phone for his birthday. Because he had a little phone, but it wasn't what he really wanted. And we always go out for Reese's birthday. We always go for the Chinese. I don't know what we'd be doing that.
Glistening eyes and cheeky face, angel's halo out of place. You to me are my whole world, wrapped up special in one word. Many hours of giggling fun, you really are a wonder, son. Flying freely as a bird, wrapped up special in one word. And you are now asleep at peace, wrapped up in a word, that's Reese.
George, you should have right.
Je mag graag niet zien. Tegen die staat in. We nose it in.
Is it? You shouldn't. You can't sit by the window then.
What?
You're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Just so heartbreaking. Detective Superintendent Dave Kelly, everyone knows about this case. It's been on all the news bulletins. There's so much speculation in the press. We have shown the killer now on CCTV tonight. Tell us who you're looking for.
What we know is that the killer is aged up to 16 years of age. He's approximately 5 feet 8 inches tall. He was wearing dark clothing, and as you can see on
we
this
see
footage,
that, yeah. The white stripe down here.
White stripe down there. That bike he's on is a mountain bike, and as you can see, he's wearing a hood up that's got a peak on it. Now he's ridden to the scene on that bicycle.
And you still haven't found that bike or the weapon, have you?
No, we haven't, and it's crucial that we do find those.
We've got an aerial shot of where this took place. Just to explain to everybody, the murderer was coming down here on his bike. He gets to about here, and just show us where Reese was walking
Reese
along.
was playing football earlier here. He would be walking in this general direction across towards the pub, across this grassed area, and then he's walked onto the car park, which is when he'd been struck by a bullet.
This is where the shot comes across here, aimed at person or persons here.
Yes.
And Reese is caught as he's walking across.
Yes, that's right.
We showed in the reconstruction there as the cyclist goes away so as fast as he can, obviously. He nearly has a collision with a woman in a red car who
Yes.
still hasn't come forward. You want to speak to her.
Yes.
And also to people who may have had contact with the murderer just before or just after.
That's right. It's important that people who've had contact with the killer before or after the murder get in touch with us. After the murder, the impact upon the killer would have been significant. He's not gone there to deliberately shoot Reese, but this has happened and it's tragic. He will have been emotionally distraught. People will have seen that. I would ask them to look at the conscience and say, you need to come forward. You need to come forward and give that information. It's only a matter of time before we come to you.
I mean, they may have unwittingly helped this. I mean, he's just a kid, isn't he?
That's
After
right.
60, they may have unwittingly helped him not realise what had gone on.
Yes.
I mean, as time goes on, it gets worse for them because they become more and more involved in this crime.
It's important that they come to speak to us and tell us what information they possess.
And it's fair to say now, isn't it? The net is closing in on this kid. You've got this CCTV now, which you're working on. It's only really a matter of time, you think?
Yes. It's 5 weeks on now. We've made a lot of progress. We've got some witness statements. There is some work still to be done, but it's only a matter of time before we come knocking on the door.
So he needs to come forward now.
He does, yes.
Before you do that.
That's right.
A lot of witnesses have come forward. You still want more people to come forward, not just with a name, but why they think it is this particular person. What kind of protection can you offer them?
It's important people that have got possess information do come to us. There are special measures that we have in place. We will come and meet you wherever you like. If you're afraid to come to the police station, we will come to you. But it's important that you sit down and listen what measures we can put in place to protect your identity. But we do need that information.
Don't have this on your conscience. Do the right thing and come forward tonight. 0500 600 600. And details are on our website, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch, or call Crime Stoppers anonymously if you want to on 0800 555 111. And we will keep you updated, of course, on calls as they come in throughout the programme. Now, Rav has got their mugshots, but do you know where his most wanted are tonight?
OK, take a good look at this lot. First up is Jason Humble, wanted for attacking a man with an axe in Ogmore Vale, South Wales, last December. The victim was hit in the face and left with severe scarring. Humble's 42, originally from London, but has connections to Rhondda, Farnborough and Kent. He sometimes goes by the alias O'Connor. He's dangerous, so don't approach him. Now, numbers 2 and 3 are Mohammed and Rubina Maroof. They're a married couple wanted in connection with the murder of a spiritual healer, Al-Hussein Jabi. His body was found in Leagrave Park, Luton in April last year. He'd been beaten, stabbed and left for dead. Mohammed Maroof is 33 and walks with the aid of a crutch. His wife Rubina is 27. The couple left for Pakistan on the day of the murder and haven't been seen since, but have strong links to the Asian community in Luton. And George Wickens is my number 4. He's wanted for 2 burglaries in East Sussex involving elderly victims. Wickens has a tattoo of a Red Indian chief on his right arm and a dagger on his left. He's got connections to Cookfield, Hurstpier Point and Eastbourne. So, do you know where they are tonight? Then don't wait, phone us now, 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399. Just type crime, space and then your message. Now don't forget, it's very important to leave that space or your text won't get through.
Well, here we are. We are 15 minutes in and every single phone is busy already. Now, cold and calculated are just 2 words you might use to describe the next man we're after. And when you hear what he did to one young woman, well, you might be lost for words when we tell you how he ended his attack by taking a photo of his victim as a souvenir.
I was feeling quite happy because I haven't been out in about 6 months, so looking forward to the evening and meeting up with friends as well.
But come closing time, her night begins to go downhill as people are milling about outside the bar. Off camera, the teenage girl argues with her mate, and upset, she starts to walk home alone. But a man joins her, offering her comfort. Police hope these 3 men could be key witnesses.
The guy was being a bit flirty, but I would never trust a guy 100% that I just literally met anyway. So I wouldn't say I trusted him, but he didn't seem to come across as somebody to really worry about at that time. I remember having like a kiss with this guy, and to me that's like normal, that's what happened on a night out. So that's normally it's that, see you later, and then off you go.
But he's going nowhere. His personality changes and he starts to get aggressive. She tries to get away, but he forces her to the ground in a nearby car park.
I was being raped and just feeling like I just wanted to die there and then, really, because I didn't know what to do. After it happened, I was just in shock, and then I remember just seeing you see a figure shape, and then hearing a noise which I would know as it being a camera sound.
With unbelievable callousness, the man had taken a picture of his victim lying in distress before running off. Have you been shown the photo on his phone? Take a good look at the pictures CCTV cameras have taken of him. Police have a full DNA profile. They just need his name.
I hate this man. I think that it's making me feel worse, the fact that he's just living his life just normal. And if this guy was off the streets, perhaps I'd be able to start doing normal things again and not being too scared to, not keep locking myself away and be able to deal with it better.
Oh, terrible for that girl. Jane, you've been looking at this one for us, haven't you?
That's right. I mean, Fiona, this teenager had gone out. She was raped in the early hours of the 19th of June. She went out on a Monday night to Brannigan's Bar in Reading to celebrate a family occasion.
Now, we saw the suspect there on the CCTV. He was in an alley off London Street. He's described as, white, late teens, medium build, with dark hair. Is there anything else about him?
Yeah, I think the other thing that's worth mentioning is he was wearing a watch on his right arm, which I think is unusual. And also, we've got his DNA, so people shouldn't be afraid to ring in. We can eliminate suspects put forward.
And there's other lads you want to talk to as well, aren't there?
They are. They're not accused, but they could be crucial witnesses at this time.
OK. Well, of course, there's that photo taken on the mobile phone. Has it been shown to you as some sort of grisly trophy? Please call us here in the studio if you have any information, 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399, type crime, space, and then your message. And if you've been a victim of a rape or any other crime, for confidential help and advice, there's the victim support line. That's on 0845 30 30 900.
Coming up, the mystery surrounding the murder of the Mayfair bunny girl. Now, after 30 years and a DNA breakthrough, we know he's killed again. With new clues, can we catch him tonight?
And one of this year's most baffling crimes, the murder of father of 4, Andrew Batterton.
All I want is the person to come forward, and then I can have answers. Why?
We'll tell you how his killer was finally caught.
Next, an extraordinary case of a bogus postman who delivers a first-class beating. The level of violence used by him and his mate is certainly shocking. But they'll be the ones in for the shock tonight. The brave victim caught the entire attack on his camera.
It was about 9:10 in the morning. My partner and child had just gone to school. I was the only one in the house, and it was just a normal day.
All right, mate, 2 minutes.
I know it's not very often we have a parcel delivered, but I just didn't think anything. I just an ordinary postman. straight away there was a gun within a few inches of my face. His first step, he just rammed the gun straight into my eye. The pain was unbelievable. The feeling, and I could feel warm blood going straight down my face, and I nearly passed out. And as I was passing out, he started hitting me around the head with it as well.
I want some! Fly to me!
I couldn't do anything. I just felt absolutely hopeless. Couldn't do anything.
Come on! Move! No, get upstairs!
He just looked a young lad with all in hoodie stuff. And that's the only glimpse I got of the second person.
Get in there! Get off the bed! Get on the floor! There's your safe. Where's your safe? Where's the safe? I don't want mate honest. Don't lie to me. Where is it? I will kill you.
Well, you see these things happen on telly, but when you got it in back of your head, yeah, I just told him everything he wanted. I was absolutely scared for my life, yeah.
There's a load of money in the other drawer on the other side of the bed. Get your hands behind your back. Your hands behind your back.
The work I'm in is basically cash anyways. But I was going to the bank that day, so they struck lucky, really.
Where's the bag? I told you had it! I gave it to you earlier on! Stop messing around! What else you got? Where's the jewellery? Mrs. and I don't wear jewellery. Don't lie to me. Where is it? I'm not lying to you. You can have a look around, honest. Where's the VCR?
He asked at least 4 times where the VCR was, and that's when I thought he was after the video for the cameras.
It's downstairs, underneath the telly. Don't you move a muscle. Stay on the floor until we're gone. Come on!
I was glad it was all over, but I was still very, very scared. I could hardly see at all because that much blood everywhere. I thought my eye was hanging out. I was wandering around for a bit before I clicked I'd got to do something.
Help me, please! Somebody! Help me! Please! Anybody! Hello? Yes, I need the police.
One doctor said you might be able to save your eye, but as soon as the specialist seen it, he said it was the best thing to have it removed and a false eye to go in later in the day. I just couldn't believe it for days, what it's done to me. Everything seems to be odd, you know. I mean, there's people with one eye out there who are used to it, but I've had 40-odd years with 2 eyes. It's just so hard to get used to it. It's unbelievable.
Now, what's incredible is the robbers made off with one of Mark's own videos instead of the CCTV tapes. What idiots. We've got DC Nicola Thompson here with me now, and we've just seen the footage is so clear. Surely someone must be able to name them.
Yeah, we've got really good descriptions. The first one, who was dressed as a postman, we describe him as mixed race, Afro-Caribbean, with light-coloured skin, approximately 6 foot tall, athletic build, with a round face, aged between 28 and 32 years old, with short black hair.
And he had that jacket on. We've seen it in the film there. A blue jacket with sort of red piping. If it's not a post office jacket, it looks extremely similar to one.
It does, and the fact that he brought a parcel and a clipboard with him as well.
Absolutely. Second guy?
Second guy, he was wearing a black hooded anorak top. The hood, unfortunately, was pulled tight across his face, so you could only get a very small glimpse, and black trousers.
OK, so not as good on him. And do you think they targeted Mark knowing that he had cash that day?
At this time, we're keeping an open mind about things.
OK, fantastic. Well, do you recognise either of them? Call us 0500 600 600 if you do. You could also claim a £1,000 reward put up by Crime Stoppers. Their number is 0800 555 111. Details are on the website, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch.
In May, we asked for your help to find the killers of Mustafa Chakawi. He was battered to death at his home in Aylesbury in front of his terrified wife, Christina.
Considered unworkable and unfair for them. Instead, make their homes.
Where's the money? Where's the money? No, where's the money? Where's the money?
Please, no! I've been beaten up. My husband's been beaten up. What was your husband attacked with? Did they have any weapons? Spades. Sorry? Spades.
I took him for a scan. And apparently that's when they realised he was brain dead. And it's best to switch off the machines.
Well, on the night of our appeal, we received dozens of calls and we got some good leads. But 6 months after his death, the police are still desperately in need of that crucial bit of evidence which could see Mustafa's murderers brought to justice. Police are convinced that the answer to this lies within the local community of Aylesbury. They're sure that people know who did this, but they aren't coming forward because of misplaced loyalties. Remember, this wasn't just a burglary. This was a brutal murder, a vicious attack on 2 defenceless people. Look at Christina here. All the stitching around her eye. I mean, she is scarred for life. Christina's purse is still missing. Here it is. It's a brown leather pouch, black zip here, and a black zip on the top. It's about 4 inches by 2 inches, probably about that size. And the murder weapon, the spade, that hasn't been found yet either. So do you know where that or where the purse is? And take a look at Christina and her grandchildren here. Lovely family scene here, and Mustafa, he is very much missed. Think about the offenders. They're both white, they're in their late teens, they're their early 20s. One 5'9", slim, with mousy blonde hair. He was wearing a navy and beige horizontal striped jumper. The other, he's around 5'7", with a blue hooded top. He's described as limping slightly with his left leg. That might be permanent, might have just been on that night, we're not sure. And if someone's conscience doesn't make them pick up the phone, maybe a £10,000 reward can help. Come on, call us. 0500 600 600.
Well, some good news on this next case. Back in March, we reconstructed how cyclist Jane Gauntlet was attacked by a gang of robbers on mopeds.
She was in intensive care for 2 weeks. I don't think they thought she'd make it through the first operation, and a week in, they told us that they didn't think she'd make it through the evening. And I had to watch as people came in to say goodbye to me. As family came in to say goodbye to my daughter, thinking they might never see her again.
Jane made an amazing recovery. He's out of hospital and continuing to get better. After the appeal, police arrested one of the robbers, 17-year-old Alex Short. He's now been convicted of 2 counts of robbery and will be sentenced next month.
In the early 70s, Eve Stratford was a bunny girl at the Playboy Club in London. She led a glamorous life, mixing with the likes of Sid James and Eric Morecambe, and at just 22 was a successful model too. This is Eve posing for Mayfair magazine, its front cover, back in 1975. It was on the top shelf of every newsagent in March that year. That was also the month she was found murdered.
Bloody hell.
I'd been to sudden deaths before. I found this one particularly horrifying. It's one that I'll always remember.
Sir.
Thanks.
There's a reporter from The Sun on the phone and another one at the front desk. What shall I tell him?
Tell him I'm busy trying to catch a killer. Look, tell him I'll be half hour at least.
It was a Sun newspaper with a photograph of my daughter, etc., saying she'd been brutally murdered. And that was the first I'd heard about it. I thought, honestly, that at the time, I really thought, because the police was going at it left, right, and centre, and I thought that, yes, they'll get these.
OK. Right. Eve Stratford, 21 years old, professional model. Murdered in her flat in Lyndhurst Drive yesterday afternoon.
The injuries sustained to Eve were horrific, amongst the worst I've ever seen as a murder investigator. She'd been constrained in that her hands had been tied behind her back, and there was some evidence that there'd been an attempt to tie her ankles together, and her throat had been cut a number of times.
I had to go and identify the body because my wife couldn't do it. And that was the biggest shock of my life, actually, but there we are. Very hard to believe, very hard to take in.
Didn't anyone report anything sus?
Well, the lady in the flat downstairs reports hearing movement in Eve's flat around 4:30 p.m. Male and a female voice. Said she heard a thump followed by silence.
Any arguing?
No, she was in all day looking after her kid, didn't hear anything that might suggest a fight or a struggle. She said the thump sounded like a chair falling over.
And what time was this?
4:45.
Well, that's about the time of her death. Is she sure about the times?
Yes, sir, positive. She was watching TV, remembers what she was watching, everything.
Well, we haven't got a lot to go on, so let's look at what we do know. Now, Eve was still in bed at 7 a.m. Her boyfriend also was there, about to leave for work. We know Eve was a bunny girl at the Playboy Club in Park Lane. She knew a lot of high-profile people. Now, she also worked as a model. In fact, her picture's on the front cover of this month's Mayfair magazine. Now, I want every photographer that's photographed Eve to be interviewed. I want you talking to studio owners, publishers, promoters, anyone. Now, let's start with her agent in Camden. Eve was there the day she died at about 12:30. At 2:25, Eve visited a publishing and promotions consultant in Bayswater. Now, she left there at about 2:50. And as far as we know, she was on her own. Now, her boyfriend has told us that leaving Leytonstone Station, Eve would have gone down Fairlock Road, right into Hainault Road, left into Essex Road, and left into James Lane, leading to her flat in Lyndhurst Drive.
Of course,
regular conferences were held with the squad, and we inquired into all kinds of possibilities, and anything that anybody suggested was followed up on.
A secret lover? I doubt it. Think about it. Why would she invite someone back to her flat for a bit of how's your father, knowing her boyfriend could come home at any time?
She knows her attacker.
We can only assume that because no one heard any screams or shouts.
There's no defence wounds.
And you could argue that she was intimidated, terrified at knife point, and did exactly as she was told.
There's no sign of a forced entry.
I agree. I still think it's some kind of friend or acquaintance. But who? It's a great bloody mystery, that's what it is.
My wife never got over it and died. And it's not often you see on a death certificate broken heart. I was hoping that I'd been a granddad, but I wasn't. So, you know, the whole family's gone. When I've gone, the whole family's gone.
After exhausting all leads, the investigation into Eve's murder was wound down in March 1976. But her death has not only haunted Eve's family, it stayed with the detectives who worked on the original case. And realising advances in forensics could prove key, DS Derek Carruthers, who you've just seen in our reconstruction, urged the Metropolitan Police to reopen the case. They now have. And incredibly, detectives have extracted the killer's DNA from crime scene evidence gathered and stored for over 30 years. What's even more incredible is that this has enabled them to link it to another cold case, that of a schoolgirl murdered just 6 months after Eve.
A 16-year-old girl went out with her friends for an evening and got waylaid on her way home in an alleyway and brutally murdered, and was found in an electricity substation where she'd been seriously assaulted.
This is the alleyway which Lynn took on the night that she was attacked. It hasn't changed much in the last 30 years. The attack definitely took place here, from the blood that we found at the crime scene. Lynn had been struck once over the head with a heavy object, forcibly lifted, and then thrown literally over these gates. And these are the original gates, haven't changed at all. The body of Lynn was discovered the following morning by the caretaker of the local school. On the night that Lynn was attacked, a man was out walking his dog when he saw a white male walking down the alleyway. A few moments later, a couple of witnesses coming out of a house here described seeing a man, who I think is the same, running across the Great West Way and down into the alleyway. I'm convinced this was Lynn's attacker.
Not to worry, I'm sure she's fine. I just thought she might have stayed. OK. Thank you. Bye.
I assumed that she was staying with her friend Rosemary, and for some reason or other she'd gone, home with Rosemary. But then, of course, I phoned them up and she wasn't there, and then everything happened at once.
Help me, please, my daughter, Lynn Whedon. She's only 16. She didn't come home last night. I phoned her friend. She's not there. Can you help me, please? God, where is she?
She was still alive, but only just. And she was taken to hospital where she was sort of put on the life support machine, and the parents had the awful decision of having to decide whether or not her machine should be switched off.
It would be nice to have a, a final outcome to it. It upset, so many people's lives. It wasn't just ours, it was lots of people.
I've never ever forgotten Lynn Whedon. She was a young girl, just about to set off in the prime of her life, and her life was cut short by somebody's sexual greed.
DCI Andy Mortimer, you've taken up the reins of both these cases now. You've got the DNA. It's the same DNA, same man in both cases. Are there other similarities as well?
Yes, Fiona. Obviously, the level of violence used in both of these offences was horrific.
I mean, we have played that down in the reconstruction, but it shocked you.
Well, it did, yes. I mean, Eve had had her throat cut a number of times, and young Lynn had suffered a sickening, horrendous blow to the head.
And of course, there's a sexual motive as well.
Oh, yes, clearly. I mean, these attacks are without a shadow of a doubt sexually motivated.
And on both occasions, this offender, he took the weapon to the scene and then took it away again.
Yeah, very indicative of a premeditated attack for sexual motivation.
And we're talking about a knife in Eve's case and some kind of blunt instrument, maybe a bit of scaffolding, a bit of pipe or something.
The best guess is it's going to be a hammer or a piece of heavy metal, yes.
If you commit crimes of this magnitude, it's pretty unlikely, isn't it? Let's face it, you'll have done 2 crimes like this and then nothing else ever again.
Oh, yeah, we can't discount the fact that he probably committed offences both before these acts and after it, yes.
Now, we heard in the reconstruction, didn't we? He may have known Eve, he may not have done. In Lynn's case, he appeared to have local knowledge of the area, of Hounslow. I mean, what kind of man are we looking for here?
Well, we're looking for a man now who, probably on the face of it, is living a normal life, somewhere between 55 and 60, but who's kept this dark secret now for over 30 years. And I'm convinced, Fiona, that he's shared this secret with somebody, a friend, a partner, an ex-lover, or perhaps a cellmate.
And someone who feels they can only come forward now, perhaps?
Yes, we hope so, yes.
Let's hope so, indeed. We can only imagine what this is doing to Eve's dad and to Lynn's parents. They've waited 30 years for answers. Don't let them wait any longer. Please call us, 0500 600 600. And let me just update you on the case of 11-year-old Rhys Jones that we showed you at the beginning of the programme tonight. We have had so many calls on this case, most of them coming up with one name, leading us very clearly to one person. If you've rung in with that name, we want to know why you think it's that person. We've got some very good information already, but we want more information about that name. Now, here's Rav with some more villains caught on camera.
Now, one of my all-time favourites makes a reappearance in this month's CCTV. This bloke's a big fan of charity, but he's not a giver, he's a taker. His game? Nicking charity boxes wherever he can find them. How desperate is that? Here he goes. Oh, not yet. Have another try. No, not quite. There we are, caught red-handed. He's thought to have nicked boxes from at least 10 shops and banks across Lancashire, and has even managed a trip to Beccles in Suffolk. Time to stop him cashing in on other people's goodwill. Name, please. My next thief's also got some nerve. He's stolen a handbag from a 77-year-old lady and he's trying to get at her cash at this co-op in Warrington. When he succeeds, he cheers to his mate waiting in a car nearby. Unbelievable. While he's giving himself a pat on the back, we get a good look at him spending his victim's money. Who is he? Recognise this bloke? You should do. I'm getting sick of the sight of him. He's already been on the programme twice and he's still at it. He's done over 20 bookies across the country. A regular man of mystery, he's got an interesting array of disguises. Look 1, high-vis vest and woolly hat. Look 2, the trusty old cap and fleece. And then there's the fishing hat. Lovely. But whatever the season, sunglasses reign supreme. Not sure about the crutch though. Always armed with a gun, always in a hurry. Come on, we've got to get him this time. A man gambling on a machine at a bookies on the Edgware Road in London. What could be strange about that? Not much until he starts checking out the place, and then he can't stop. Nice moves, mate. It looks like he's winding himself up, but he's actually biding his time before calling the cashier over to check the machine. He grabs the cash and runs for the door. She follows, but is thrown across the room, breaking her wrist. How brazen can you get? He's believed to be a regular at the betting shops around Paddington and Marble Arch. If you've seen him, dancing or not, call us. The two men in hoodies are also prepared to lash out. They're part of a gang of 4 raiding the Walkabout Inn in Brighton. They've dragged the manager out of bed and stabbed him in the leg before demanding money from the safe. This one's so sure of himself he's taken his hood off so we get a good close-up. Still not satisfied, they march the boss and the deputy manager downstairs at gunpoint and then turn on the customers. They thought they could stab a man, rob a pub and get away with it. Let's prove them wrong. So, know any of them? You know what to do. 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399. Just type crime, space, and then your message. And if you need to have another look at tonight's CCTV, it's on our website, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch.
In July, Jane set out on a manhunt to find this man, Leslie Finch. He's a sexual predator wanted for abusing young girls.
When this case came into our office and I saw the details, I was absolutely horrified. I deal with sexual abuse cases every day, but this one just really stood out. What these children have suffered at the hands of this man, I just can't begin to describe.
It felt like when he was doing it, it was like a gnat going all over your body, and then coming back for more. You know, when a gnat goes over your body and bites you and then goes away. It felt like that.
My dream would be for him to get caught and have to pay for what he's done, and everyone to know that people can't trust him. To know for definite that it couldn't happen to anyone else, that would be a massive relief.
Jane, when we did this on the night, we had over 50 calls. I mean, I was almost certain, I don't know about you, that we'd got this guy. I mean, one caller rang in and said where Finch was living and working.
That's right, Fiona, a massive response, and it was so good that officers went straight around to a location. When they got there, he had fled. He'd taken his jacket and his mobile phone. We don't know whether he watched the programme or whether somebody tipped him off, but when we've got to his flat that he was living in, he'd left all his possessions behind, so he's left in a hurry.
And he'd scarpered. Now, how's he surviving? Because he hasn't touched his bank account, has he?
That's right. We know he had connections with the building trade, and believe it or not, he's actually been touting his services, trying to earn some money in the streets in UK. And this is the card that he's been handing out, offering his DIY services.
And he is certainly not the kind of man you would want to hire for a bit of DIY around the home. Someone's tipped you off that he's had a tattoo done now.
He has, and it's a very distinctive tattoo. It's of an American Indian with feathers and a headpiece. It's black in colour and it's on his upper right arm, and he's still coming out with his fanciful stories. Now he's stating he's an ex-Marine and was in Iraq.
Well, he's very likely to reoffend, and I have to say, if you come across this man, Leslie Finch, don't waste a minute, pick up the phone now, 0500 600 600. Now over to Rav with some more wanted men.
Well, my number 5 is Chima Enianwu, wanted for supplying cocaine. He's originally from Nigeria, but was living in Bolton when he escaped arrest. He's now thought to be hiding out in London. Now, 2 years ago, almost to the day, Anthony Kavanagh was murdered. He was a Royal Navy seaman on shore leave and was attacked in a bar in Fleet Street, Liverpool. Now, police want to speak to this man, David Corkill, my number 6. Corkill's 25, originally from Liverpool, and is known to travel throughout the northwest. Number 7 is Michael McKell, and he's wanted for making threats to kill and is also a registered sex offender. He's 6 foot and has a gold hoop in his left ear. Originally from Dumbarton, he's got a strong Scottish accent and has links to Glasgow, Fleetwood, Oldham and Birmingham. And last, but by no means least, is my number 8, Damien Foley. He's wanted in connection with an attack on a man with a samurai sword. The victim was stabbed several times and left with serious injuries. Foley is 41 and known in the Watford and Oxley areas of Hertfordshire. So, have you seen Foley or any of the others? Get dialing 0500 600 600.
Yeah, it always takes a huge amount of courage for the victims of crime and their families to speak out. And the mother in our next case is no different. She was targeted at home in Wigan by someone who wanted to set her and her 2 young children on fire.
It's just after 11 p.m. on Monday the 9th of July in Greenwood Avenue in Wigan when this man comes calling. He's carrying half a concrete paving slab and a bottle of creosote. Living at the address, a mum and her 2 young children. The man starts smashing a side window with the concrete.
I stepped back and I tried to get away. The glass hit me and everything just went in chaos then.
Christine was left with a 9-inch gash in her arm and damage to tendons and nerves. Her children were terrified, but the ordeal didn't stop. The attacker threw creosote into Christine's eyes. At the time, she thought it was petrol.
I said to my little lad, go and ring the police.
Who is this monster? And here he is again as he calmly leaves the crime scene. Christine needed several operations. She'll be scarred for life.
Just can't think of any reason why someone would do that.
Well, DC Pete Morris, what struck me, and I'm sure what's going to strike everyone at home, is you think, you know, surely Christine must have known this man. Why would he pick on her?
Well, we're completely satisfied that Christine doesn't know this person or the family of Christine.
He's a complete stranger. I mean, we can tell as he walks along, he's about 6 foot or over, the way he bends down to open the gate. He's white, he had some kind of mask on. It might have been homemade, we can't be sure. And you think he's local, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Because the fact is, he tried to disguise his voice during the CCTV, but then changes back to a local Wigan accent.
Yes, and Christine picked that up very strongly, didn't she?
She did, yes.
And then he was trying to throw creosote, I mean, terrifyingly, into the home. He spilt quite a lot of creosote over his clothes. You can tell that, can't you, from the CCTV?
You can
so
see
he must have
that.
reeked of the stuff afterwards, wasn't he?
Well, he would have done, yes. Like I say, he would have to go home at 11 o'clock at night. He, like I say, would have smelt very strong of creosote. And family must know that who this person is.
Exactly, or maybe seen washing his clothes, trying to dispose of his
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah.
What about this paving slab that he tried to break in with it? There's something pretty distinctive about it, isn't there?
Well, there is, yeah. It's a hexagon-type flag, and it's broken in half. But on there, you can see there's been some type of light fitting or some sort of decorative ornament on there.
That's been removed?
Yes, it's been removed at some point, yeah. Perhaps there's somebody been trying to renovate the garden at some point and they disposed of that even in the garden or escape. But I do need to know where that flag has come from.
OK, well, call us tonight, 0500 600 600, or call Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Earlier, you heard the heartbreaking plea of Rhys Jones's mum, Melanie. In April, another mother spoke out on Crimewatch about her son, Adam Regis. He was also an innocent boy. He was also murdered on his way home.
Film was heavy today, innit?
But you've seen it 7 times.
Yeah, because I love that film.
I'm gonna get it when it comes out on DVD.
2 doctors came in. He said to me, "I'm so sorry," and we was unable to save him. Oh, and I don't want sorry. I just want him back. I just want him back.
Since our last appeal, police are making good progress. Remember, Adam was killed shortly after 9:30 p.m. on the 17th of March on Kingsland Road, Plaistow, East London. At least 5 guys are believed to be linked to Adam's murder and are seen fleeing the scene in this car. We identified the car as a Sirocco in May, but now, thanks to you, we know the car is a VW Mark II Sirocco and have narrowed it down to being bronze in colour. This is what it looks like. This isn't the actual one, but it will look like this. There are less than 200 of them in the country, and police have tracked down some, but not all of them, so we need to eliminate the rest. Do you drive one, or do you know of one? Perhaps it's been painted a different colour or taken off the road. There's a huge reward to bring Adam's killers to justice, 20 grand. We're not giving up on this one. Please call 0500 600 600.
9 months ago, Terry, Katie, Danielle and Andrew were left orphaned when their dad was murdered. Andrew Batterton, known to his friend and family as Fatter, was stabbed to death in his home in Cheshire. The case had everyone baffled.
someone's being stabbed?
Yeah.
Is he breathing?
Yeah, hurry up, please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I do miss him. Miss his laugh and everything. Calling me old queen. I used to go mad over that. I used to, oh, come on, old queen. That's what he did.
Miss everything. You just want him back. It's be like what's just gonna happen.
All I want is the person to come forward, and then I can have answers. Why?
Well, Fatah's mum did get an answer. Her son's murderer is this man, 40-year-old Stephen Mottram, Fatah's girlfriend's ex-partner. Infatuated and jealous, he stabbed Fatah in a premeditated act of revenge. After the murder, Mottram bombarded Fatah's girlfriend with phone calls. Police became suspicious and they took his DNA. It matched the DNA found on Fatah's bedroom window where the killer got in. The evidence against Mottram proved overwhelming, and in court, he pleaded guilty to murder.
When I see him in court, he was like just hanging his head, like showing no remorse. Just like everyone had to feel sorry for him.
When the judge said guilty, I looked at the family and I just come, yes, and I smiled and I looked straight at him. It was just a relief. Everything was just like, it's over. Everything's over. I know why, I know everything now.
Justice has been done. He's lost everything like we've lost everything.
Hearing Fatah's mum and daughter there, it's clear how getting justice is so important to families. So let's hope tonight your calls will lead to other families finding some comfort. So Rav, what's come in tonight?
Lots and lots of stuff, actually, on almost all of the calls, especially Rhys Jones, the poor 11-year-old murdered in Liverpool. We've had lots of names, in particular lots of the same name coming forward on him, and we may have even traced the woman in that red car that we saw from the film. More in the update. If you can help with anything, please give us a call.
Details on tonight's cases are on our website if you want to check them out, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. Our phone lines are open until midnight tonight and from 7:30 in the morning till midnight tomorrow. Crime Watch next month, Tuesday the 30th of October. But don't go away now because we're back in half an hour with the Crime Watch update. So if you know who killed little Rhys or you have any information that could help with tonight's appeals, please pick up the phone now. Your call could be the one that makes a difference. See you at 10:35 for now.